Hello, my friends. Welcome back to EduTalks. I'm Emma Carter, and today we're diving into one of the most powerful communication skills you can ever learn: how to think fast and talk smart, even when you don't have time to prepare. Have you ever been in a situation where someone asked you a question suddenly and your mind went completely blank? Or maybe during a conversation or meeting, you wanted to say something smart, but the words just wouldn't come out. Don't worry, you're not alone. Thinking and speaking quickly is something almost everyone struggles with, especially when speaking in English. In this lesson, I'll show you 3 simple but powerful techniques that will help you stay calm, organize your thoughts, and speak clearly, even under pressure. You'll learn how to manage nervousness, how to shift your mindset from fear to confidence, and how to use easy structures to make your answers sound smooth and natural in real conversations. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to handle those unexpected moments when you have no script, no notes, and no time, and still sound confident and fluent. Whether you're in a meeting, an interview, or a casual talk with friends, you'll learn to express your ideas clearly and think on your feet like a natural English speaker. So, if you want to keep improving your English communication skills, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video to stay connected and learn more powerful techniques with me. Are you ready to start thinking fast and talking smart like a confident English communicator? Let's get started. Hello, my friends. This is Emma from EduTalks. Today, I want to begin with a small story, something simple, but something that completely changed the way I think about speaking English. One day, I saw a simple question on a website. It said, "How many colors can you see in this picture?" I looked at it and quickly said, 5. But when I looked again more carefully, I found 10. I had missed half of them. I smiled and thought, wow, sometimes we look, but we don't really see. That small moment taught me something very big. In English speaking, we often do the same thing. We focus so much on big things like grammar or accent that we forget the small things that actually help us communicate. When I first started learning English, I wanted to sound smart and perfect. Every time I spoke, I was scared of mistakes. I worried about pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary all at once. And guess what? I froze. My brain stopped working. I forgot simple words that I already knew. I felt embarrassed. I thought, maybe English is just not for me. But then I realized something powerful. English is not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about connecting with people, not impressing them. That small thought changed everything for me. I started focusing on communication, not perfection. I told myself, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to pause. What matters is connection. After that, English stopped being a school subject. It became part of my daily life. I started speaking to people online, talking to myself in English while cooking or walking, and even describing things I saw around me. Slowly, my confidence started to grow. But there was still one big challenge waiting for me: spontaneous speaking. You know, those moments when someone suddenly asks you a question and you have no time to think? Your brain freezes, your heart beats fast, and your mouth says nothing. I remember one day at work, my manager asked me a simple question in English. I knew the answer in my head, but the words wouldn't come out. I stood there, smiling awkwardly. It was only a few seconds, but it felt like hours. That night, I asked myself, why does this happen? I know the words. I can speak when I'm alone. So why do I freeze when someone talks to me? That question started my journey into understanding how to think fast and speak naturally. I discovered that there are two kinds of speaking. The first kind is prepared speaking, when you have time to plan, write notes, and practice. The second kind is spontaneous speaking, when you must respond right now, in the moment. No notes, no practice, no preparation. Just you and your thoughts. And this second kind, my friends, is the most powerful, because real life doesn't give you time to prepare. Once I understood this, I realized that spontaneous speaking is not about memory. It's about mindset. It's about how you think under pressure. I used to believe I needed more words or better grammar, but that was not true. What I really needed was mental calmness, the ability to stay relaxed and speak with clarity even when surprised. So I started training myself differently. Instead of memorizing sentences, I practiced thinking in English. I played a game with myself. Every time I saw something, I described it out loud in English. That man looks tired. The sky is bright today. I'm feeling hungry. At first, it was slow, but soon, my brain started switching automatically. I didn't need to translate from my language anymore. And one more thing changed everything: accepting mistakes. Before, I tried to hide them. Now, I welcomed them. I laughed at them. Every mistake became a lesson. I told myself, this mistake is proof that I'm learning. That simple belief gave me freedom. Confidence doesn't come from speaking perfectly. It comes from speaking anyway, even when you're nervous, even when you don't know the perfect word. Because confidence is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So if you've ever felt nervous when someone speaks to you in English, remember this: you're not alone. Everyone, even advanced speakers, feel that moment of panic. But the difference between those who stay stuck and those who improve is one simple thing. They keep going. They speak anyway. When I finally understood that, English started feeling lighter. I stopped judging myself. I smiled more. I started enjoying conversations instead of fearing them. And slowly, something amazing happened. My words started flowing naturally. I didn't need to be perfect anymore. I just needed to be present. So in this first part, remember this one lesson. Small things create big change. When you stop focusing on perfection and start focusing on connection, your English begins to breathe. And when you make peace with your mistakes, your confidence starts to grow. That's where my journey began, with one small realization: that English is not a test. It's a tool to share your world with others. After I discovered that small things make a big difference, I started to pay attention to something deeper: fear. Every time I wanted to speak English, I felt a strange tension inside me. My hands got cold. My heartbeat got faster. My mouth went dry. I kept asking myself, why am I so nervous? I already know these words. Then one day, I read a quote that said, Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. That sentence hit me hard, because the truth is, fear never really disappears. We just learn to live with it. For a long time, I thought confident English speakers had no fear. But when I started talking to people who spoke English fluently, I realized something surprising. Even they feel nervous sometimes. Even native speakers feel shy in certain situations. So, it's not about being fearless. It's about learning how to manage your feelings. Once I understood that, I stopped fighting my fear. Instead of saying, "Don't be nervous," I started saying, "Hello, nervous Roman. I see you. Let's speak anyway." It might sound funny, but it worked. That small shift helped me accept my emotions instead of fighting them. The more I tried to hide my nervousness, the bigger it grew. But when I looked at it and smiled, it lost its power. I realized that my fear was not my enemy. It was a sign that I was doing something important, something that mattered to me. Fear means growth. It means you're stepping out of your comfort zone. So the next time you feel that nervous heartbeat before speaking English, don't run from it. Just take a deep breath and remind yourself, this feeling means I care. This feeling means I'm growing. I also started using a few small tricks that really helped calm my mind before speaking. The first one was breathing. I know it sounds too simple, but breathing changes everything. Before I speak, I take one slow breath in, hold it for a second, and let it out slowly. It relaxes my body and slows my heartbeat. Suddenly, my thoughts stop racing, and I can think clearly again.
The second trick was smiling. Yes, smiling. When you smile, your brain releases positive energy. It tells your body, "I'm safe." It helps you look confident even if you don't feel confident yet. Sometimes I smiled even when I was nervous, and people reacted warmly, which gave me courage to continue. The third trick was body language. I learned that your body and your mind are connected. When you stand tall and open your posture, your brain starts to believe you are confident. So, before any conversation or meeting, I would stretch my shoulders, lift my head, and stand firmly. It felt strange at first, but it really worked. I also began to see how self-talk affects our confidence. Before, I used to say things like, "I can't do this," or "I'm not good at English." But then I realized, every time I said those words, my brain believed them. So I changed my script. I started saying, "I'm learning, I'm improving, I can try." These small, positive sentences gave me power. One morning before a team meeting, I was very anxious. I could feel my heart pounding. Instead of repeating, "Don't be nervous," I said, "It's okay to be nervous. Let's do this together." I smiled, took a breath, and spoke slowly. And for the first time, I didn't freeze. My words came out naturally. My voice was calm. After that meeting, I realized courage grows when you act, not when you wait to feel ready. We often wait for the perfect time to speak English, when our grammar is better, when our accent improves, when we know more words. But that perfect time never comes. The best time is always now. Every time you open your mouth and speak, you are training your brain to handle real situations. The truth is, confidence is built through experience. You can't think your way into confidence. You have to speak your way into confidence. The more you speak, the more natural it becomes. At some point, I also realized that being nervous shows you care about communication. You want to do well because it matters to you. That's not weakness,
That's passion. So I started changing my perspective. Nervousness was no longer something to remove. It became something to respect.
When I accepted my fear, it started to fade. Not completely, but enough for me to move forward. I started enjoying conversations instead of worrying about them. I stopped focusing on what others might think and focused on expressing my message. So, here's what I want you to remember from this part. Don't wait for the fear to disappear before you speak. It never really disappears. Instead, walk with it. Make peace with it. Say hello to it. And speak anyway. Every time you speak English while feeling afraid, you become stronger. Every conversation is like a workout for your confidence. And just like muscles grow when you use them, your confidence will grow every time you practice. Now, I tell my students this all the time. You don't need to be fearless to speak English. You just need to be brave for 10 seconds. Because that's all it takes to start. Once you begin, the rest will flow naturally. So, next time you're about to speak English and you feel nervous, breathe, smile, stand tall and say, "Hello, fear. Let's do this together." You'll be amazed at how powerful that simple act can be.
After I learned to face my fear instead of fighting it, something amazing started to happen. I began to notice a new problem. My mind was always racing. Before speaking, I would think too much. What if I forget the words? What if I make a mistake? What if they don't understand me? My thoughts jumped everywhere, into the past, into the future, but never stayed in the present. One day, before an important meeting, I felt that same panic rising again. My hands were sweating. My thoughts were loud. So I decided to try something new. I closed my eyes and whispered to myself, "Roman, just be here." I took one slow breath and focused on the sound of my breathing. In that quiet second, everything felt calmer. I opened my eyes, smiled, and spoke. And to my surprise, the words came naturally. That day, I learned something powerful. Fluency is not only about words, it's about presence. When your mind is calm, your mouth follows. When you stop worrying about the perfect sentence, your ideas start to flow. So I started practicing being present while speaking English. Before every conversation, I reminded myself to slow down, breathe, and listen. I noticed that when I really listened to others, I didn't need to think so hard about my next words. They just appeared naturally. I also learned a few small exercises that helped me train this flow. One of them was called the 10-second response game. It's simple. I asked myself random questions like, "What did I eat today?" Or, "What would I do if I won $1 million?" And I gave myself only 10 seconds to answer in English. I didn't have time to plan or translate. I had to speak immediately. At first, it was messy. I paused a lot. But after a week, I noticed I was thinking faster. My brain was starting to build faster connections between thought and speech.
Another exercise I used was shadowing. I listened to short videos or podcasts and repeated what the speaker said, word by word, with the same rhythm and tone. It felt like dancing with English. At first, I could barely keep up. But soon, my tongue and brain started to move together. My sentences became smoother. My confidence grew. Then, I tried something fun, thinking out loud. I talked to myself in English while doing daily activities. Cooking, walking, cleaning, even brushing my teeth. I said things like, "I'm washing the dishes now," or "I need to buy rice tomorrow."
It may sound funny, but it made a big difference. Because the more I spoke, the less I judged myself. My English became part of my normal thoughts, not something separate or special.
I also discovered something interesting about mistakes. When I was learning, I often repeated certain errors. For example, I sometimes used the wrong tense. But instead of feeling bad, I started to notice them like small clues. Every mistake was a message from my brain saying, "Hey, you're getting closer." And when I learned to see mistakes as teachers, I stopped fearing them. One day, while talking to a new friend, I made a small grammar mistake. I noticed it immediately, smiled, and said, "Oops, that's not right. But you understood, right?" We both laughed. That laughter broke all the tension. I realized that people don't care about your grammar as much as you think. They care about your message, your energy, and your smile. That's when I truly understood. Fluency is not about speaking fast. It's about speaking freely. When your mind is free from fear and self-judgment, your words flow naturally. I began to enjoy English in a new way. I stopped treating it like an exam and started treating it like a conversation. I watched movies and repeated funny lines. I joined online discussions. I talked to strangers without worrying about sounding smart. Every conversation became a playground where I could experiment, make mistakes, and grow.
One of the most powerful habits I built was reflection. After every conversation, I wrote down 3 things. 1. What went well? 2. What was difficult? 3. What I learned. This helped me see progress over time. I realized that even if I made mistakes, I was still improving. Every small win mattered. I also started using rhythm to train my speech. Sometimes I played soft background music and spoke along with the beat. It made my English sound smoother and more natural. Because just like music, speaking has rhythm and flow. Another important thing I learned was pausing. At first, I was afraid of silence. I thought people would think I didn't know what to say. But then I noticed that confident speakers use pauses all the time. A short pause gives your listener time to think and gives you time to breathe. It makes your words sound more powerful. So now, instead of rushing, I take my time. I breathe between ideas. I let the silence help me, not scare me. Sometimes I even use a small smile or a hand gesture instead of words. Because communication is not only about speaking, it's also about how you connect. If you ever feel your mind running too fast while speaking English, remember this: slow down to go faster. Take a breath, feel the moment. Look at the person you're talking to. Forget about the perfect grammar. Focus on the meaning. When you do that, you'll notice your English becomes smoother and more alive. The more I practiced these small techniques, the more I realized that speaking English is not a race, it's a rhythm. It's like dancing. Some steps are fast, some are slow, but the goal is not perfection. The goal is to keep moving. So in this part, my message to you is simple. Find your flow. Don't chase big words. Don't force yourself to speak fast. Let your English breathe. When you stay in the moment, your confidence and fluency grow naturally. After I found my flow, something changed deep inside me. English no longer felt like a mountain I had to climb. It started to feel like a path, a long, beautiful walk, where every step mattered. And every time I spoke, listened, or learned something new, I was taking another small step forward. But here's the truth. Growth is never straight. Sometimes you move fast, sometimes slow, and sometimes you even go backwards. I had days when I felt confident, when my sentences came out easily and my ideas flowed. And then I had other days when I couldn't find the right words, when everything felt stuck again. In the past, those bad days used to break me. I thought, maybe I'll never be fluent. But later, I realized something important. Those difficult days are part of the process. Fluency is built through ups and downs, not perfect progress. One evening, I was practicing English with a friend online. I was tired, and my mind was full of mistakes. I kept saying, sorry, and oh no, that's wrong. After the call, I felt terrible. I wanted to quit. But then, my friend sent me a message that changed everything. She wrote, Roman, you spoke for 30 minutes in English tonight. That's amazing. That one sentence made me think differently. She was right. I was judging myself for not being perfect, but I completely ignored the progress I had made. I realized that most learners fail not because they're not good enough, but because they stop noticing their small victories. So, I decided to celebrate every small win, even if it was tiny. If I understood a new word in a movie, that was a win. If I asked a question confidently in class, another win. If I made a mistake and learned from it, a huge win. And when I started counting my wins, my motivation grew naturally.
I also discovered another secret. Learning English is not just about practice. It's about purpose. Ask yourself, why do I want to speak English confidently? Is it to connect with new people? To get a better job? To travel the world? To express yourself freely? When your why is strong, your how becomes easier. For me, my reason was connection. I wanted to talk to people from different countries, learn about their cultures, and share my own. Every time I spoke English, it was like unlocking a new world. That feeling kept me going, even when it was hard. Over time, I built a small daily routine, just 15 to 20 minutes of focused practice. I called it my 3P method. 1. Prepare. I picked a short topic I wanted to speak about. 2. Practice. I spoke freely for 2 or 3 minutes without stopping. 3. Perfect. I listened to myself or reviewed what I said and fixed small things. This method was simple but powerful because it gave me structure, and consistency always beats intensity. You don't need to study for hours every day. You just need to show up, again and again. I also learned to make English part of my lifestyle. I changed my phone settings to English. I followed English-speaking creators I liked. I read short articles about topics I enjoyed, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Learning became fun, not forced. And one more thing helped me a lot. Community. When I joined English groups, I realized something amazing. Everyone was struggling in their own way, just like me.
Some were afraid to speak. Some were shy about pronunciation. Some made grammar mistakes. But together, we supported each other. We laughed, corrected, shared, and improved. Not through competition, but through connection. That's when I understood the real beauty of learning a language. It's not about perfect grammar or native accent. It's about being understood, being yourself, and growing together.
Still, I had to remind myself of one thing. Growth takes time. No plant grows in a day. You can water it, give it sunlight, and care for it, but it still takes time to bloom. And English is just like that. You need patience. I started to enjoy the slow progress. I trusted the process. And one day I realized something incredible. I wasn't learning English anymore. I was living in English. I was thinking in English, dreaming in English, even joking in English. It had become part of who I am. That's when I finally understood the truth. Confidence doesn't come from knowing every word. It comes from believing in yourself, even when you don't. If you ever feel stuck, if you ever feel like your English isn't improving fast enough, remember this. Progress is not always visible, but it's always happening. Every word you speak, every sentence you try, every small mistake you correct, it all adds up. One day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. You'll remember when you were afraid to speak, and you'll smile, because that fear will be gone. And when that moment comes, you'll understand what it truly means to be fluent. Not just in English, but in confidence too. So take this as your reminder. Keep going. Keep speaking. Keep learning. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent. Every time you speak, you're not just practicing English. You're building courage. You're training your mind to stay calm under pressure. You're becoming someone who can express ideas clearly, confidently, and authentically. That's the power of growth. Slow, quiet, unstoppable. So today, take one small step. Speak one sentence. Listen to one story. Learn one new word. Do one thing that brings you closer to the speaker you want to be. Because in the end, it's not about speaking perfectly. It's about speaking bravely. And if you do that every single day, I promise, you'll become the confident English speaker you've always dreamed to be. Now, after years of learning and practicing English, I can say this with all my heart. English didn't just change the way I speak. It changed the way I see myself. It gave me confidence I never thought I could have. It wasn't fast. It wasn't easy. But step by step, word by word, I grew. When I look back now, I remember every small victory. The first time I spoke without fear. The first conversation I had with a foreign friend. The first moment I realized, hey, I can really do this. I also remember the mistakes, the pauses, and the moments when I wanted to quit. But all of them became part of my journey.
Learning English is not only about grammar or vocabulary. It's about opening doors to people, to ideas, to the world. It's about discovering new parts of yourself that you never knew existed. Every new word is like a small light that helps you see more clearly. So if you're listening to me now and thinking your English isn't good enough, remember this. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. One sentence today, one conversation tomorrow, and one day you'll speak with confidence and joy.
Don't stop. Don't say I can't. Say I'm learning. Keep learning. Keep growing. Keep believing. Because one day you'll look back and you'll be proud of how far you've come.